The Valorian Empire had ruled the Andromeda sector for 3,000 years. Their crystalline ships cast shadows across 100 worlds, and their word was law from the outer rim to the galactic core. Emperor Thaxron VII sat upon the eternal throne, believing himself untouchable, divine, beyond the reach of lesser species. He learned otherwise in 72 hours. Ambassador Sarah Chen had arrived at the imperial court with nothing but a datapad and genuine hope for peace. Humanity was new to the galactic stage, their ships primitive compared to Valorian dreadnoughts, their weapons laughable to an empire that had conquered countless civilizations. The humans sought only trade agreements, cultural exchange, a seat at the table of galactic affairs. Thaxron had her executed on the palace steps for the crime of refusing to kneel. The footage spread across human networks within minutes. Sarah Chen smiling even as the energy blade descended, her last words a simple message. They'll remember you showed them who we are. Earth's response was not what the galaxy expected. There were no declarations of war, no threatening broadcasts, no fleet mobilizations that Imperial scouts could detect. The Galactic Council anticipated angry protests, perhaps economic sanctions. The Valorian court laughed at the very notion of retaliation. What could these newcomers possibly do? Admiral Marcus Webb stood on the bridge of the UHSF Shadow of Intent, watching the blue-white orb of Valoria Prime grow larger in the viewscreen. Around him, 9 other ships held position, their hulls absorbing every spectrum of light, rendering them invisible to all but the most sophisticated sensors. And humanity had spent the last 6 months studying Valorian technology very carefully. Intelligence confirms Emperor Thaxron is in the Summer Palace, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez reported, her voice steady despite what they were about to attempt. Security detail is approximately 5,000 guards. Planetary defense grid is active. Webb nodded slowly. The Valorians had numbers. They had technology refined over millennia, but they had never fought humans before. They didn't understand what Sarah Chen had meant in her final moment. All teams, you are go for Operation Reckoning. The assault began with frightening precision. Human ships, smaller and supposedly inferior, slipped through the Valorian defense grid like ghosts. Where Valorian shields were designed to stop massive energy weapons and kinetic bombardment, they failed to account for the quantum phase torpedoes that humanity had developed in complete secrecy. The weapons passed through the shields as if they didn't exist. 16 defensive satellites vanished in silent explosions before the Valorian military even registered an attack. Master Sergeant Kira Okafor led Strike Team Alpha through the palace's eastern wing, her neural interface feeding her real-time tactical data. The augmented reality overlay showed enemy positions, structural weaknesses, evacuation routes. Human special operations had evolved beyond anything the galaxy had seen. Each soldier was a perfect synthesis of biological instinct and technological enhancement. Valorian guards fell with remarkable efficiency. Humanity had studied their tactics, their weapons, their psychology. The Empire had grown complacent, their warriors trained for ceremonial duty more than actual combat. Humans had learned warfare in the hardest school imaginable, against each other for thousands of years on a world where survival meant constant adaptation. Throne room secured, Okafor transmitted. Target acquired. Emperor Thaxron VII stared at the armored figure before him, genuine incomprehension in his multifaceted eyes. His guards lay unconscious or dead. His impenetrable palace had been breached in less than 20 minutes. It was impossible. Admiral Webb's holographic form materialized beside Okafor. He wanted the Emperor to see a human face when judgment came. You killed Ambassador Chen, Webb said, his voice carrying the weight of 4 billion souls. She came in peace. She offered friendship. You murdered her because she wouldn't grovel before your throne. Thaxron's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter or fear. You are primitives, newcomers, you cannot what? Webb interrupted. Cannot reach you? We're standing in your throne room. Cannot hurt you? Your defense grid is offline.
Cannot kill you?
He paused, letting the silence stretch. Your mistake wasn't murdering our diplomat, though that was crime enough. Your mistake was thinking we're like the species you conquered before. We're not. Okafor raised her weapon, but Webb shook his head. No. Bring him to the balcony. They dragged the Emperor to the palace overlook where millions of Valorian citizens had gathered, having watched their impenetrable defenses fall in real time. Human ships hung in the sky above their capital, proof that the impossible had occurred. "Ambassador Sarah Chen offered you peace," Webb announced, his voice amplified across the city. "She offered partnership between our peoples. She was unarmed, unthreatening, hopeful. Your emperor killed her for not showing sufficient reverence." He looked at Thaxron. "Let me show you what humanity does to those who murder our peacemakers." The energy blade was Valorian, taken from the same guard who had executed Sarah. Poetic justice, some would call it later. The Emperor's death was broadcast across every Valorian world, every imperial outpost, every conquered species that had bowed before the eternal throne. The message was clear: the Age of Empires had ended. Humanity withdrew from Valorian space within the hour, leaving behind only a single transmission that played on loop across all imperial channels. It was footage of Sarah Chen's arrival at the palace, her genuine smile, her extended hand in greeting. And then her execution, and then her last words, which suddenly made terrible sense. "They'll remember you showed them who we are." The galaxy would indeed remember, not as the species that could be pushed around, dismissed, or murdered with impunity, but as the species that answered overwhelming force with surgical precision, that turned impossible into accomplished, that valued a single life enough to topple an empire. The Valorian Empire collapsed within the year, not from external conquest but internal revolution. Subjugated species rose up, inspired by humanity's action. The Galactic Council underwent complete reformation. And every civilization learned the same lesson the hard way. Humans don't start fights, but they finish them absolutely. In the halls of the new Galactic Assembly, a memorial was erected, a simple stone bearing Sarah Chen's name and her final message. Diplomats from 1,000 worlds passed it daily, a reminder that behind humanity's extended hand of friendship stood an unyielding fist of retribution. Peace through strength, friendship through respect, and consequences for those who confused mercy with weakness. The galaxy had learned. Humanity had taught them well.